Hi guys, I am here with Abby Sinclair. Hi Abby, it is so good to meet you.
Hi.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Of course. Yes. Thank you for having me.
Okay, why don't we start with you introducing yourself a little bit? Tell everybody, where do you work? What is your role?
Okay. So I am Abby Sinclair. I have been in the car industry for almost 3 years now. I work at Motorvation Atlanta. I'm right there in the heart of Midtown. If you're familiar with the Atlanta area, it's right there in the middle of the city. So I love my place of work. I have a very, very chillax environment here that gives me the opportunity to be the type of salesperson that I want to be. So I'm very thankful for that.
Amazing. Can you tell us what you were doing before you got into car sales?
So I actually used to be in the hospitality industry. I used to be an executive chef. So I was all over the place a little bit. I went to different restaurants. I was the head chef for a private school for a little while. And then I kind of was getting a little bit drained from being in the food industry. And so I wanted to kind of see what different career paths there were. And I actually ended up buying a vehicle from this company. And when I bought the vehicle, I just loved the way that they treated me. I loved the environment that we were in. And I had always been in the hospitality industry. So I figured, let me see if I can, put my face out there and see if this would work for me. So I asked the finance manager that was actually signing me up to see if I could work there. And he loved the conversation that we had. And 3 years, almost 3 years later, here I am.
Ah, that is amazing. Can you remember what it was like starting out in car sales? Do you remember what were your biggest fears or challenges that you had to overcome at first?
So I would it was super scary. I'm not gonna lie. Being there, especially because I have I have a little bit of anxiety. I think everybody does, especially when they're trying to convince people to spend thousands of dollars with them. So I was very stuttery at first. I never knew how to answer the right questions or when to ask the right questions. So over time, I think what really helped me the most was really watching my peers and seeing how they would have answered certain questions and watching my management over the years and see how they would work with certain people and really just picking up tips and tricks from everybody in the group made me a stronger salesperson. I think everybody is teachable and everybody is always learning. So that was the biggest thing for me was just picking up how everybody said certain things and when to let on and off the gas.
Do you have any stories from back in that time that really stand out to you that you remember?
From like the very beginning, let me see. I think I do. Um, when I first started in the industry, one of the first things that I did was I sold a massive dump truck to this guy who owned kind of like a crane company. He was turning these like big hydraulic trucks into cranes and I was still very fresh. I hadn't even had like a single car yet, so my first car out was actually a dump truck, which is actually crazy. But um the whole time he was super super nice to me. He understood that I was learning with him as the process was going on. And that was just like the biggest thing was me being fresh in the industry. I'm only 5'1", driving this massive dump truck to go show a customer, and I had no idea how to present it to this person, no idea what we were doing, and or somehow he stuck with me throughout the whole process, and he still gave me the opportunity to earn his business. So that was like, that was, I'm surprised I even did it myself.
I love that. It's like a
Yeah.
dump truck out of all things.
Yeah, out of this massive inventory with 300 plus cars, I'm selling a freaking dump truck right now. It was the craziest thing ever. It was crazy.
Was there somebody in your dealership that kind of took you under their wing who really helped you out?
Yes. And that actually makes me really, really sad because he recently left my dealership to go explore his own business and all that good stuff. But my sales manager at the time when I first started was definitely a huge part in why and how I sell the way that I sell now. Um, we are both Gemini. We are, like twin flames a little bit. So we had kind of the same like thoughts and actions. So we did things very similar. And he definitely was probably my biggest my biggest supporter. Anything that I needed, anytime I needed help, it was always right there.
Do you
And
remember a particular lesson that he taught you?
we were about 7, 8 months into my journey in the car industry. And at this point, I was really like learning the ropes. And he went out of his way to kind of like intervene with my customer. And he said something that was like not what I was saying to them. And it's not like it was wrong or anything. It was just, it was different. It was kind of like
Mm.
moving them in a different direction than I wanted to move them in. And so I was quick. I was like, you know what? Don't talk to my customers until I tell you that I need my customers talked to, and he was like, he was very hard headed. He was like, you know what? You're not going to tell me, blah, blah, blah. It's my job. And I was like, you know what? Don't talk to me for the rest of the day. And then as I was continuing working, I was fuming. You could see how mad I was. Just continue to call my customers and do my thing. And he walks over to me and he goes, we're going to pretend like we're a married couple right now. Okay. We're going to argue and then we're going to hug and it's going to be fine. And I said, okay, fine. And so we sat in the parking lot of the dealership that we both work at, yelling at each other. And then right after, we hugged it out and we never had another fight after that. He was literally like my rock during this whole journey that I've been on in the car industry.
That's a huge lesson in conflict resolution, especially with coworkers.
When I tell you, we used to fight each other's heads off and then just like be like, it's fine. Everything's fine.
What advice would you have to someone who was pretty much in your position, that somebody came and took their clients in a different way, or when their manager kind of steps in a little bit at a turn? What would be your advice to women who are experiencing that? Before we hear the answer to that really juicy question from our guest, I wanted to tell you how I found her, how she ended up on this video in this interview. I found her on TikTok because she had a strong presence, because she was using the right hashtags, because she knew what she was doing. And that is how your customers find you. That is how you establish your authority in the marketplace. That is how car salespeople make their mark and take control of their careers, by being online. And you need to be on TikTok if you're not already. My name is Ina. I'm the AutoSocial Gal, and I'm a social media strategist for car salespeople, for car dealerships. And I have helped hundreds of people with their online presence over the past decade. And now, for the first time ever, I have created a Mastering TikTok for Car Sales course that you can have right now and learn everything I know about how to show up on TikTok, attract your right customers, and also make the experience be right for you. It doesn't have to be silly dances. It doesn't have to be complicated scripts or skits. It can be whatever you want it to be. And in this course, I really put everything that I know so that you can have the kind of presence that is going to make you go from unknown to unforgettable, so that people want to drive 2 hours out of their way to come and buy cars from you. I have you with the list of equipment that you need, with all of the TikTok features. I am going to show you exactly around the app. I'm going to show you how to simplify the analytics process. You don't have to know everything right off the bat to be successful. I'm going to show you how to stand out with your unique personality. I'm going to show you the viral examples so that they inspire you and you know exactly what to post, and so much more. And all of this can be yours right now. And I want to give you a very special $15 off code. The price of the course is going to keep changing. I just put this out there and the price is going to continue to increase. So don't rest thinking that the price is going to stay the same, and grab this code right here for your $15 off, no matter what the price of the course is. Just code this QR code, take a picture of this QR code, or go to autosocialgal.com/TT for TikTok, get it? And use the code YTGals, that stands for YouTube Gals, so that I know you came from this video and you're coming from here. It's all in that QR code. If you go to autosocialgal.com/TT, it already has the code baked into it, and you can go and grab it right now, because I want to see you on TikTok so that I can go and invite you to be on this YouTube channel, elevate your authority, and inspire others. All right, now let's go back to the interview.
You know me, I am super hard-headed. I don't know. A lot of us women, we are hard-headed, and it's hard to admit that. Um, really knowing when to step back and be quiet because the people that are in management or a senior salesperson, they have been through the ropes long enough to know what to say and when to say it. And sometimes you just kind of have to just sit back and listen. Just sit back and listen to what they're saying because it might give you answers that you never thought that you would have um, the answers to. Um, Realistically, nobody knows what to do when they first start off in this industry, especially if they don't have any sales experience prior. um, it's all about knowing when to ask the right questions and how to ask the right questions. And that's my biggest thing, just sitting back and being quiet sometimes.
Can I ask you, what do you think is the biggest misconception that new saleswomen coming into the industry that they have about working at a dealership that as soon as they start working there is dispelled right away? Or you would like to tell them this is not what you think it is. What is that misconception?
Because this is really like focused towards women, having children and being able to have some type of life outside of this type of job. It is a very tiring career. Like you have to be mentally prepared to spend a lot of hours, a lot of time, and a lot of disappointments with certain people. We are a 10% industry. We only have so many shots and we only take, so many options. And getting into it, you're not about to be just rolling in money. You're not about to be rolling in money right off the start. You have to really learn how to work the process before you really start doing it big and better. And I think that's the biggest misconception is that you're going to get in here and you're going to start making bank. And that's
Mhm.
just simply not true. You really have to work at it and you have to bleed through it in order to come out on the other side and be a stronger salesperson at the end of the day.
All right. What is your favorite customer story?
So, okay, I don't know if I can tell that one. Let me see. This was actually just recently. So, I left the company that I'm at currently for a little while, and I started working at Hyundai, and I was working with this couple, and they had seen one of my videos and they came in and the wife had not had a new car in probably like 10, 11 years, and her both of her kids had just went off to college, they were grown, and her husband was like, I want to put my wife in something that she deserves to have. And I was like, "Oh, absolutely, I can do that for you, I can definitely do that for you." And they were literally just the most pleasant people I have ever experienced in my life. No matter if they had any questions or whatever, it was just so easy to talk to them. Um, they made the process so smooth and so easy, and we just um, they're just those one couple, that one customer that you have that you just won't forget. Just because you can tell when an interaction is genuine in this industry, and that was probably one of the most genuine interactions that I had ever had. Um, and they were great people. They were great people.
What advice would you have to people who are about to walk into a dealership so that their experience is smooth and genuine and easy for everybody?
Kind of pre-qualify yourself first. Pre-qualify yourself. Know where you're standing at financially. Know what you can afford. Know what really makes sense to you. The way that I break down the car buying process to people, especially the ones that are tedious about like payments and all that good stuff, every $5,000 that you finance is roughly $100 to your payment. So going into a dealership and seeing a specific price online or whatever kind of just gives you a rough idea without interest of what you're going to be dealing with. Because a lot of times I've noticed like people will come in on these $40,000 vehicles and they'll be like $300 payments, and then it just doesn't work like that. You kind of just have to explain and walk people through why it doesn't work like that. That's the
Right.
biggest one, in my opinion. People have a lot of misconceptions on how this actually works.
Okay. I want you to picture that there is a saleswoman who just started and she's listening to this interview and
Mhm.
she's having a little trouble getting the right amount of support from her peers or having a hard time adjusting to being a part of the team. A lot of women who are starting out, they immediately join a completely male team, right? And they may be feeling a little bit out of place. What advice or encouragement do you have for them?
Men are haters, especially if you are in an all male floor, like if you have all males, because women have that certain advantage when it comes to selling cars that make customers feel a little bit more vulnerable. People tend to open up to women a little bit more than they would a man. And that's one advantage that I would take to the bank every single time. If you have a warm, inviting face and you have a warm, inviting energy and presence to these people, you're going to win over those boys every single time. Just keep pushing through, keep watching how everybody deals with their customers, pick up on little things and just get through it.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about social media.
Okay.
So, what made you start doing social for your job, and what do you think was the hardest thing about it?
So I actually just recently really started tapping into my social media side of it, because I work for an independent company. Generating leads for myself really comes from the social media platforms, coming from Facebook, all that kind of stuff. So that's really why I got into it. And then I also like being in a presence where people can relate to us, because if you can relate to us, then we have more to talk about. And my biggest thing is you don't really know how the car industry works unless you've been in it. So people don't know, like when I get off work, I don't want to call. I don't want to answer the phone. I just answered the phone 170 times today. Just little stuff like that.
Mhm.
You have like a different understanding with people in the car industry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What is your favorite social media hack?
Going on live. Going on live will generate a lot of more followers than I expected. I never really did the whole live thing up until a couple weeks ago, and I have gotten a lot more followers going live and showing my inventory and showing how the process works. Even cold calling. A lot of people will come into my live and watch me cold call customers and talk to them and show them how to you know move the process along and how to get a customer to come in. That's my
That's a
biggest one.
that's a really good one.
Hmm.
Okay, we're winding down.
Hmm.
So I want you to picture that you are on a stage and there's car saleswomen in a stadium.
Hmm.
And this is your moment to just lay it all out for them, to give them your best piece of advice, your best encouragement. What would you have to say to them?
Do not get discouraged. We are very emotional human beings, and that's totally okay. Using emotion in every single thing that you do and every single lead that you work is going to help so much when it comes to seeing your success later on down the road. Trying not to get emotional about certain things, say objectives, or somebody said something weird to you, or anything like that. Just not getting discouraged from certain things that would not be normal outside of this line of work. Um, Nobody wants to be, catcalled and harassed. Not getting discouraged by that because it might pay one of your bills. That is a big one. That is a big one. And then, just learning how to deal with rejection a little bit better. I had a hard time with that at first. I used to be like, you know what? I'm over it. And now I kind of like, okay, well, let me see how I can turn this no into a yes. And that's the big one. Always try to figure out how you can turn that no into a yes.
I love it. Okay, so thank you so much for doing this. Please tell
Of
everybody
course.
where to find you and where to follow you on social.
Okay, I am Abby Sinclair Sells. I am on both Facebook and on TikTok as of right now. We keep our Instagram private, but if you would like to, just follow me on Abby.Sinclair Sells on TikTok.
All right, and tell everybody the city and town and the name of your dealership.
So we are at Motorvation Atlanta in Midtown Atlanta. And we are a pre-loved inventory. So if you're looking for a pre-loved car, come see me.
Okay, and we're gonna put those notes right below so everybody can go and get them. Thank you so much, Javi. This has been wonderful. I wish you so much success. You have such an amazing energy, and I can't wait for you to your continued success. So thank you so much
Thank
for doing
you.
this.
Thank you so much. You're so very welcome. And I appreciate getting the opportunity to be able to do this with you.
Thank you.
Of course.